Thank you all for joining. We'll just wait for 60 seconds and then we'll get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning to you all and welcome to the webinar by Wiseman Solutions. My name is Vipul Gupta and I head the Oracle Fusion Middleware and Mobility practice here at Wiseman. I will also be your moderator today. I would like to thank you for taking time to join this webinar and hope that by the end of it you have known more about the topic and relate to it based on your requirement. Right now, I have everyone on mute to avoid background noises that may distract you from listening to the speaker. Throughout the presentation, someone from my staff will be managing the chat functionality. While the webinar is on, I encourage you to drop in your questions and comments using the chat window. We will address these questions as well as take any others you may have at the end of the presentation. Now, as for the agenda, we will start with the introduction of Wiseman, followed by a brief about our Oracle Middleware and Mobility practice. We shall then jump into the main topic for today, that is discovering Oracle SOA Suite 12c and Oracle MFT product. Once done, we will open up for discussions. About Wiseman. Wiseman is a Houston, Texas-based global IT solutions provider with offices in Canada, Dubai. Our offshore development centers are in Hyderabad and Pune in India. Wiseman has established or was established 17 years back in 1997 and is a women and minority-owned company. We specialize in integration, application development, analytics, smart grid, mobility, managed and support services. Wiseman has won many accolades, not only from its clients like Centerpoint Energy and Bluebonnet, where we are recognized as best technology vendor, but also from agencies like Business Journal, Inc. Magazine, and EY. Our focus industries include energy and utilities, oil and gas, healthcare, entertainment, retail, manufacturing, supply chain, transportation and logistics. Listed here are some of our esteemed customers. To know more about Wiseman, you can visit our website at www.wiseman.com. Wiseman has a full-fledged Oracle middleware, mobility, and database practice. The practice drives the strategy, delivery, solutioning, alliance, and competency building. Our wide range of service offerings to clients include consulting that covers evaluation and assessment, defining future roadmap based on business needs, advising on integration modernizations, We do end-to-end implementation of integration solutions from inception to solution design and architecture to build and deploy. We also provide services for upgrade and integration platform and solutions from an earlier version of Oracle to latest one and help with migration from current solution technology of clients to Oracle. We have been providing administration, operations and support services for over 10 years now, and we specialize in it. Our middleware offering includes solutioning and support in a wide range of stack components like SOA Suite, Business Activity Monitoring, Service Bus, Enterprise Manager, B2B integrations, WebLogic server installations and administration, and mobility, and such others listed here. We have a well-established Oracle Center of Excellence that brings added value to our clients. Wisdom has strategically interested in practice and theory to ensure that we have a focused approach to bringing value-added offerings to our clients. Some of the features of the Center of Excellence are that we have skilled and certified Oracle SOA professionals that are knowledgeable in best practices, integration frameworks, and Fusion Stack capabilities. We have a state-of-the-art SOA lab with LC database application servers and SOA Suite LC that enables our consultants build proof of concepts and prototypes. We also use this lab to build and demo new features to our clients. We have well-defined project lifecycle framework that not just helps us easily go through the implementation of Oracle SOA integration project, but also helps you map the right components of SOA stack to the integration patterns. The template-based framework helps you execute your integration projects smoothly. This reduces at least 20 to 30% of overall cost to the products. As part of practice offerings, we also have predefined reusable components and accelerators that help expedite project implementation and reduce risk. We are a good partner with Oracle that helps us collaborate with them to bring qualified services to you. Our delivery maturity model is a product of our Center of Excellence that helps us deliver cost-effective and proven solutions. This is by a combination of our framework and best practices with predefined accelerators and reusables with our Oracle provided middleware. So that was a brief about our practice in Weissman. Now I would like to talk a little bit about today's main speaker, that is Satya. As he is fondly known in the integration circuit, he is the senior integration architect with middleware practice of Weissman. He is an industry leader with over 13 years of experience in architecture and delivery of integration solutions. He has deep understanding of enterprise integration practices and SOA design principles. He has worked on a wide range of integration product suites, including legacy CBM suites and Oracle SOA suites. Satya has sound understanding of healthcare standards like HTML 7 and HIPAA. He specializes in healthcare and utilities domain. Among other things, learning and keeping abreast with latest technology is his passion. And as an extension to this very passion, today he will be helping us discover some of the new features of Oracle SOA Suite 12c, the latest offering from Oracle in the integration solution space. While he will go over the key aspects of SOA Suite 12c at a high level, he will cover Oracle Managed File Transfer or MFT product in more detail. Oracle MFT is a companion product of SOA Suite 12c that helps organizations regain control over file exchanges and solve problems created by uncontrolled proliferation of FTP servers. Satya would be presenting MFT features and functionality through snapshots of prototype that was performed in our lab for one of our customers. With that said, I welcome Satya to take it from here. Satya, I will be promoting you as a presenter now.
Thank you, Vipul. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Do you have the control of the presentation?
Okay, it's not letting me move the slides. Can you give it back to me again, Vipul? I'm not able to move the slides.
Yeah, I'm trying. You should be all set.
Okay, cool, it works. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are dialing from. My name is Satya. As Vipul mentioned, I'm working as a senior integration architect here at Weissman. Today we are going to go over some of the new features within the new offering of SOA Suite, which is the 12C version. And then we are going to go take a deeper look into the managed file transfer product. I just want to, as Vipul mentioned, we have a Fusion Lab environment within Weissman, wherein we'll be testing all the new features that are released as part of new versions. So the features that I'm going to talk about 12C are some of the features that we have tested in our lab. So the list is not a comprehensive list. It doesn't. We are not going to talk about all the features that are available as of 12C. We are going to talk about only the features that we have experimented with, we have worked on in your lab environment, and we have suggested to our customers. So with that said, before going into the 12C features, I just want to take a brief moment and talk about the implementation approach, project implementation approach here at Weissman. Usually we get involved after the requirements are well defined. The first step that we usually do is like define a logical architecture. Here at Weissman, like based on our experience with integration projects, we have defined a lot of reference architectures, decision trees and things like those. So those help us in determining the right set of patterns for the right integration problem. So things like whether a particular solution will be better handled by a real-time integration or a batch integration. Does an access pattern like push or a pull make more sense for that specific problem? Those are all the kinds of things that we will be evaluating before defining the final logical architecture. As the next step, once the logical architecture is defined, we do out the technology mapping. As we focus a lot on Fusion middleware related integration products like OSB, SOA Suite, ODI. We do the technology mapping for the logical architecture that was defined. And then as per the typical SDLC process, we move on to development, testing, and deployment. Vipul, there seems to be some background noise. Can you please mute everybody else? To the details of 12C features. As everybody knows, within the integration space, like cloud and mobile tech are gathering a lot of momentum these days. Actually, it has been gathering momentum for the past couple of years. So with this release of 12C, support has been added for those domains, and we are really excited to talk about those. So this is a listing of some of the 12C features that we have been testing with. Some we completed, some we are still working on those. Let's go over the details of them. So cloud connectivity. It's a well-known fact that the adoption of SaaS-based applications and enterprises have been growing over the past couple of years. as enterprises, business units within the enterprises keep acquiring more and more cloud-based applications, right? It only behoves you to define a better integration strategy, to have a good integration strategy in place to connect your cloud applications with your on-premise applications. Without that, you will end up in, again, a siloed-based architecture wherein the cloud-based applications are going to work on there independently without sharing information from the rest of your enterprise. So, SOA Suite being an integration tool, with the release of this cloud-based adapter, it is really easy to connect to some of the SaaS-based applications. Out of the box, it has support for Salesforce.com adapter. So the wizard-based adapter is going to remove all the plumbing work for you, and then it makes it really easy to configure, access the objects, and then access the backend applications. So that is one thing that we have worked upon in our labs. And we came to know, based on the collateral on Oracle website, that there is an upcoming support. There is a support for some of the Oracle offerings like Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, and Marketing Cloud in the upcoming versions. We haven't validated that yet, but as and when we have more information, right, we will publish that in our blog on our company website. Next up is the mobile support. As everybody is aware, the footprint of mobile-based applications has only been increasing over the past couple of years. Enterprises are adopting more and more mobile-based applications, and they are trying to expose their enterprise functionality through mobile. So with this kind of adoption, you need to have a better API strategy in place to expose that enterprise functionality. So REST and JSON are the most preferred mobile-based API approaches for exposing this functionality. With this new release in 12c, SOA Suite has provided support for REST as well as REST along with JSON in here. So mobile is just an extension for your existing integration landscape. It's just another application. So it is really easy within this new feature to convert your existing SOAP-based XML, SOAP XML-based SOA composites or like your OSDs to just add new REST binding to those. What we have found is that, like in some cases, if your visual definitions are not getting updated, you can simply right-click on your exposing service and then add a new REST binding to that one. So you can have like both your SOAP-based binding and REST-based binding as an alongside each other. So next up is the enhanced adapter list for your on-premise integrations. The first thing that I want to talk about is the MSMQ adapter. MSMQ is the messaging platform that Microsoft offers. This is one thing that I personally have been waiting for quite a while. So it is very common to have in large enterprises, you'll be having multiple business units, and it's very common to have both .NET and Java platforms in those enterprises. Me working in the middleware area as an integration architect, I ended up in a lot of situations wherein I need to talk to .NET applications. With the lack of this support till now, we had to come up with some kind of a roundabout approaches wherein we expose the MSMQ-based applications as web services, and we have to integrate those with SOA Suite like our SOAP XML. But with this support, it is really easy to natively connect from your SOA Suite to those MSMQ-based applications. And the new adapter supports all the three private, public, and the distributed list functionality in MSMQ. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the coherence adapter. The support was there from the before. It is the in-memory data grid solution that Oracle offers. The reason you want to have a cache in place is basically for performance gains. If you have a use case wherein your objects are not getting updated very frequently, right, then you can gain significant performance improvements by accessing those objects from the cache, as opposed to like going all the way to the back end, either enterprise applications or your databases to get that information. So with this coherence adapter, it is very easy to access that either XML or Java objects from your coherence. And it supports a SQL-like intuitive language called CQL, which helps you in either storing and retrieving the objects from the cache. Also, there is support for SAP adapters. We haven't delved into that yet, but we are actually working on that one. So this adapter lets you natively talk to the SAP applications like in a bidirectional way. It accesses the business objects, like it talks both to the BAPI and the iDocs. It seamlessly integrates with the Business Object Explorer within the SAP, and then in the wizard, it gives you a display of all the objects that are present in there, and you can choose which objects you want to deal with. So there are some other features also that we have been working around with. For example, the Internet of Things. This domain has been gathering a lot of momentum of late. So essentially, it is you're going to get lots and lots of data from your end devices, basically from your sensors. So it is only important on your side to filter, correlate, and then process in a middleware platform before you pass on that information to the back-end applications to draw any meaningful insights. So there is an offering from Oracle called Oracle Event Processing, which is very well suited to handle this kind of requirement. With this release for 12c, the SOA suite supports a very good integration of OET with OSD and the EDN, like a SOA EDN adapter. The next feature is about the single IDE environment. So if you have worked in the previous versions, 11G and before, right, and if your environment uses both SOA suite and OSD, you develop your SOA composites in JDeveloper, and then you develop all your proxies, OSD proxies in Eclipse-based IDEs. So it is really not a drawback. It's a little bit inconvenient to work in two IDEs and then share those artifacts. So with this updated feature, you can develop both the SOA suite and OSD artifacts within JDeveloper itself. And what we have noticed is that there has been a slight change within the way the proxy development can be done. It is similar to the kind of the three-pane approach that you are used to in composites. Your left side being your exposing services, in the middle pane like you have all your components, and on the right pane like you have your business services. The next feature is using the project templates and the people templates. So this one we have found exceptionally useful during your development time. So what this helps you with is you can package up all your frequently used components or transformations or adapters, what have you, into a template, and then use that as a starting point before you start your SOA composite. Usually I have seen developers like starting from empty composites. So this lets you, this gives you a very good starting point based on which you can add all your business logic in there. Next step is the Beeper templates. If you worked on Beeper templates, everybody is aware of the fault handling logic that goes into those Beeper templates. What we have noticed in the past is that though you do a very good job in your design phase defining the business and the technical exceptions, things like those, rarely the same standards are enforced by the development team, because like every developer has an ad hoc way of implementing that logic. So this feature lets you define all those fault handling logic in the Beeper template, and then you can distribute it to the team so that they can just focus on their business logic implementation. So those are some of the features that we have worked upon. Obviously, there are a lot more features within SOA Suite 12c the new release, and we are still actively working on those. So in the subsequent slides, I'm going to talk about the managed file transfer, the companion product of SOA Suite, which helps you in a optimized fashion of dealing the files across your integration environment. So we have taken a slightly different approach of this demo. Usually when we do the demos in the webinar, we do a live demo wherein we demonstrate the capabilities of the product. But when we are actually doing that, we realize that there is a lot of configuration options on the screens that we may not be able to cover if we just do the live demo. So we have taken a little bit of a different approach in that we are taking all the screenshots, and we want to go over the features in those screenshots in here. I hope you appreciate that approach. And also I want to mention that this demo is the byproduct of POC implementation of one of our customers for a specific use case. So we will be going over that one. Before going into the details of MFT, I want to take a little bit of moment and then really talk about why do we need an file transfer framework in place, first of all. Everybody knows that batch integrations play a very critical role in your integration environment. They have been used in the past, they're being used now, and they definitely will be used in future as well. Typically what we have noticed is most of the various client implementations is that usually clients develop some custom solution to handle these file movements, or they'll be buying some third-party products. While those solutions are good, it's always better if you have an product that is part of your integration suite, which seamlessly integrates with the rest of the subcomponents that you are using. So with that said, this offering from Oracle is a very welcome offering, long-awaited offering. Some of the features of that is it gives a visual representation of the end-to-end transfer of the files, and it supports compression if you have requirements around zip files, if you need to unzip those files automatically, or you need to zip up the files that when you're sending it to your end customers, all that can be handled seamlessly. And scheduling, I believe it is part of the ESS, that is part of Oracle. And the different configuration schemes that are available for scheduling, we'll be going over those in a little bit. And then the encryption, if you're sharing confidential information with your end users, right, most probably you'll be having a requirement to encrypt your data. So all the PGP kind of encryption can be handled automatically. And this product has a very easy to use user interface, wherein we'll be going over the different screenshots shortly. The one thing is that it has support. It has an embedded FTP and SFTP server. So if your end customers do not support an FTP environment, then you can use this use these embedded servers to exchange the data with your external entities. So in this slide, I want to talk a little bit about very briefly at a high level about the installation. As I mentioned, we were working on a POC or a demo for one of our customers using a file-based use case. And we are mostly dealing with the development domain only. We haven't gotten to the point of creating the production domains yet. So what we have noticed is that in the previous versions, even for SOA Suite, you need to have an external database to store all your metadata. But with this release, for a development domain, at least you do not need to have an external database. It comes up with an built-in database called Apache Derby that holds all the metadata. But if you are using an external add-on, external components like MFTs or healthcare adapters, you need that external database to hold all the metadata. So once the RQ is done, when you're at the point of creating that domain, during the domain configuration, there will be an option for MFT, which will be visible if you run the appropriate installers. And once you do that, you will be using pretty much the standard startup scripts to start the domain. So the last bulletin here, the URL in there is used to open up the MFT console. If you just left the default configurations like default port settings and everything, 7001 is the default admin console port. Your host name followed by the default port number and then /MFT console. Let's log into the MFT console dashboard. So this is how an sample login screen looks like. Once you log in, this is the main welcome screen that you are presented with. This gives a very good snapshot of your transfers in your integration environment. So this is very useful for an operations team. That gives them a quick overview of the health of the file environment. This gives details like how many transfers have been completed, how many are still active, how many have failed, and also it gives me the statistics around the payload file sizes like average, minimum, maximum, and things like those. So here we are in the design screen. This is where you will be spending most of your time during your development, like during your design time. So in this screen, like you will be configuring your sources, you'll be configuring your targets, and eventually your transfers. This also lets you search for either sources, targets, or transfers based on your search criteria. So this is a typical screen when you're creating a source that you'll be presented with. You can notice that there are a bunch of transport protocols that are listed in here. We worked on file and FTP protocols. We are still working on the SOA and then the OSB protocols. Depending on the protocol that you choose, you will be presented with an appropriate screen wherein all the protocol-specific configuration information will be presented to you. So this is a sample screen of how an FTP remote protocol looks like. Obviously, this is pretty self-explanatory. You'll be entering your user credentials, your control codes, and then the directories where you're picking up the files from. And then this is a sample screen when you're creating a target. You'll notice that most of the support for most of the protocols is there, except for the embedded FTP and the embedded SFTP. So once the sources and the targets are configured, next step is your transfer configuration. You have an option of either dragging in your sources and targets in here, or you can create them new in the screen. You'll notice that in the target section, you find a link called Add Target. So that lets you to create multiple targets for a specific source. So that is one of the, if your use case is that like a specific file, one file has to be delivered to multiple destinations, you can configure them in here. So at the target level, you'll see at the bottom that there are three links, one for adding the schedule, one for adding your pre-processing actions, and one for adding your post-processing actions. We'll be going over those options shortly. So this is a typical schedule screen. The options that you have for the frequency are out there. They are pretty intuitive. But once you come to the monthly and the yearly configuration options, it becomes pretty sophisticated. You have a lot of configuration options in there. For example, if you choose the yearly, right, it has a listing of all the months and all the days in there. So you can choose like whatever combination you want to define your schedule. But if your use case is, if your requirement is something around very specific schedule, right? Like I want to run this job on a specific day at a specific time. You also have the option of doing that using the custom schedule. Next step is the pre-processing action, where you see like you have the compress, decompress options. You can use those options to handle the zip files, and then the PGP encryption, the decryption to handle the confidential data. In the following slides, I'll show you like where you can handle the PGP keys. This slide list the only option that is available for the post-processing action. So the content filters, I just want to go back a little bit. So in the source, in the bottom, like you can find the content filters and the payload access. So that was the screen we are looking at in here. I have noticed frequently in my previous implementations dealing with files is that we want to process specific file names, and I'm very used to like specifying those regular expressions in my cron jobs as part of the shell scripts. So that feature is available in here. You can pick and choose like the file names that you want to get processed based on either dates or alphanumeric combinations and things like those. This slide talks about the payload access. When you are using FTP as your underlying protocol, obviously you have details like you have to define your users, the user credentials, and then you have to map out the roles that a specific user can specify the kind of the privileges that they have. So this is the screen where you specify your groups, assign users to those groups, and then map out the roles appropriate to specific users. So once a transfer configuration is complete, this is the screen you're presented with, which lets you to deploy, undeploy, or like you can even also enable and disable the transfers. In here, like you also have the option of deploying or undeploying the individual sources of the targets as well. So the next screen is the monitoring screen. If you select a specific transfer instance, it gives the details of all the instances of that specific transfer had in the past. We just tested with one test file. Obviously, if you have like multiple test files, right, like the corresponding details will be displayed in here. So this is a visual representation of your transfer. It shows you like how a file is delivered from your source to the target. I want to briefly talk about a couple of options that you have in here. So in this specific screenshot, I have highlighted the test source icon. And on the right, you'll see that there is a resubmit source option. This is extremely handy when you are in your testing mode. What I have frequently found is that when you're doing the testing with two different parties, oftentimes the destination or the target system may be down, and you'll be getting requests that like, can you please resubmit the file? So instead of going to the actual source location and then dropping the file all over again, this is a very convenient way of resubmitting the source files. And when you go to your target section, you have the options of obviously the resubmitting the target as well, which has pretty much the same functionality as the source. But you also have the pause and the resume options in there. We haven't worked on this feature yet, but what we are anticipating is that in the middle of the transfer, if for whatever reason your end system is down or something like that, you can pause it and then you can resume from where you left off. The next screen is the administration screen. In the left pane, you'll see all the options that are available. I highlighted the import-export option in there. So what you can do is like you can import either an individual transfer configuration or your entire MFT repository in here. Actually, I forgot to show you, talk about one option during the transfer configuration. I'm going a couple of slides back. So in this screen, this is the configuration screen for your transfer. If you notice at the top, you see 4 options like export, save, deploy, and then revert. Using this export option, you can export all your transfer as a zip file. And when you come to the administration screen, this is where you can import your configuration. So this screen is very helpful when you're migrating to the higher environment. For the first time you want to migrate your repository, and then in the subsequent releases, you're going to migrate your individual transfer configurations. And the key source tab is where you'll be configuring all your PGP keys that are used in your transfers. So those are all features, all the features that we have used for one of the sample file-based sample use case as part of our POC. So at a high level, to give up the summary, right, like we talked about the usual approach that we use to handle the integration projects. And we reviewed the high-level features at the very high level of some of the SOA Suite 12C release version features that we have worked with. And then we explored the different configuration screens working on a use case demo for one of our customers. So with that said, that concludes all the information that I want to provide. Again, thank you from our side for listening to attending the webinar. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask. I'll pass the control to people.
Yeah, thank you, Satya. That was good, and I'm hearing some echo. It was probably you. So, if there are any questions for Satya, please go ahead and ask him, and he'll be more than happy to take your questions. You should all be unmuted now. Well, I guess not. So, any of you, if you need any help with developing any POCs, knowing any features of SOA Suite 12C or managed file transfer, or any other help based on the descriptions here, do reach out to us, and we should be more than happy to help you out. Here you will also see on the screen the contact information. We'll welcome your questions and comments on this topic, as well as other inquiries that you may have. You will all get an email from us which links to the recording of today's session. So you may go over it again if you want. With that said, hope today's webinar was helpful. Our next webinar is on December 11th, 2014, and the topic is Exploring Oracle Mobility Framework. Do stay tuned for more information, and remember to register here on this high-in-demand subject. And finally, on behalf of Wiseman, I thank you for joining us and taking time to view today's presentation. My very best wishes to you for a wonderful Thanksgiving and a great holidays ahead. With that said, take care and you have a good one. Bye.